All right, so we're gonna try something a little different here. I'm gonna start uploading some draft league content. So we're gonna be starting with a Little Cup league. I was just kind of looking at kind of different leagues that I could get into, and I haven't played VGC in a very long time, and I didn't really want to do a VGC league, but that's a lot of the ones that are going around. And then I found this Little Cup league, and it seemed like it would be good fun. Little Cup's a format I've never played before, but I know it's a lot more of an offensive format, so I think it'll be interesting. It'll be a lot more fun, especially with I've been playing against a lot of stall teams in some of my other leagues, so I'm hoping to get away from that in Little Cup. But so we're in a league, the DBLC, Dirt Boys Little Cup, or maybe it's Dirt Bowl. I don't remember. I apologize. But so we're in a league, and the way I kind of stumbled into this league isn't the greatest. Somebody drafted a mono water team and then left the league. They were looking for a spot to fill, and I was the lucky one to fill it. I did get free agency to change my team around, but I'm missing some of those heavy hitter picks like Poniard, like the ponies, like Grookey, like Shelder, those mons that I wanted to use, but unfortunately they kind of already got picked up, and I didn't really have a chance to use any of them. But I did still end up with some pretty good high point mons like Wingle and Meowth. But let's dive in. So like I said, we have the Wingle here. This thing is when you let's see when you make it jolly and positive, or just positive nature to 36, you hit that 19 speed tier. And apart from Voltorb, that's the highest. I don't even know if Voltorb gets higher, but the highest speed tier you're gonna hit. Mons like Wingle, Abra, Meowth, Staryu, I think all hit that 19 speed. So having at least one, and in this case two, mons that hit that 19 speed tier are really nice. This thing just hits hard with moves like Surf, Hurricane, Hydro Pump if I want to use those less accurate moves, but still Air Slash, Ice Beam gives me Defog, and you always want at least one flying type to help with Earthquake spam. So that was kind of the thought process behind using Wingull. It does also gets U-turn. I like to have a lot of Volt Turn in my teams, and then you can do some stuff with like Roost and Tailwind if you put a little more into the bulk. So this Mon's got a lot of stuff it can do. It hits pretty hard, and it hits that high speed too, which is really nice. Next thing I picked up was Meowth. Now, Meowth is really good at like one thing, and that's revenge killing, right? With a combination of Fake Out and Faint. How do I type? It's Fake Out and Faint. Is going to be able to pick up a lot of KOs, right? Obviously, the Fake Out flinches, and then that does good ship, and then the Faint finishes off whatever it is. This thing also gets so much coverage. Dark, Fairy, Grass, Ghost, Bug, Flying, and then if we want to put special moves on it, you get access to water moves, rock type moves, electric moves, and yeah, there's no hidden power. If I didn't mention that, but still, you get so much coverage with this mon. It's so good at revenge killing. I guess that technician boost, right? So this thing does a lot. It also gets covet, which can be used to steal EV lights and stuff like that. So, yeah, really good mon. Knockoff user, U-turn user. Really solid mon. Surprised I was actually able to get this one, but yeah. Then we have Numel. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Earthquake spam is something that's really good in Little Cup. Something that you're going to use a lot of. So I wanted a good, solid ground type, and unfortunately, a lot of them had already been picked up. However, Numel does get simple, and it does get Flame Charge, right? So you can click that Flame Charge, get +2, and then just start spamming Earthquake or even Earth Power, because Numel is pretty mixed. And then does this? I don't think this thing gets Heat Crash. No, it gets Heat Wave. But then this thing also gets stuff like rocks, willow, a lot of the dark type stuff. And this thing also gets amnesia and defense curl. And with simple, those boosts can really start to stack up. So it's just you click that flame charge, you get +2, and you spam earthquake or earth power till the cows come home. And if you need that rock slide or AP, I think it also gets to hit those flying types. You can. It also gets Trailblaze if you want to run Trailblaze instead, but Flame Charge is pretty much just always better. Yeah, no, this thing's just pretty much an Earthquake user, and then it also gives me a Fire type, which I didn't really have. I was looking at Darumaka, but I figured this just gave me a little more agency. Then you get Starly. This mon is surprisingly good. It does still get Reckless, right? It doesn't get Intimidate, but it gets Reckless, and a lot of times when you're playing Draft, you're not using Intimidate Raptor, you're using Reckless. And this thing gets moves like Double Edge, Brave Bird. It keeps that U-turn, right, if you need it, and then it gets all the flying util moves like Defog and Roost, Tailwind. So yeah, really solid mon. It also does get Final Gambit, which you can still use the same as you do in any other league, right? Choice Scarf, Final Gambit. A lot of times this thing is unfortunately only 60 base speed, which is pretty bad for Little Cup. So a lot of times you're going to be smacking a Scarf on this thing, but still Scarfed Double Edge or Scarfed Brave Bird especially, because there's not a lot of Steel or Rock types in Little Cup, so there's not a lot of flying or even normal resist for that matter. So it's really hard to resist them on like Starly, and then you have that Choice Scarf and you have those moves that hit super hard with the Reckless, and this thing just hits. It hits really hard. Its only weakness is that it's slow. Other mons like Picky Peck, very similar mon, but it's just faster and it hits harder. But Starly is still a really solid pickup, and I'm pretty happy with it. Axew is here because Dragon Dance. A lot of times in Little Cup, you want to take like one move to set up, and then you want to go, right? And with this, I have access to SD, I have access to Dragon Dance. I guess I technically have access to Hone Claws, but I think it's just worse than everything else. This thing gets a lot of coverage too. For some reason, it gets first impression, so good priority on this thing for some reason. And then, yeah, just hard hitting physical moves. It gets Trailblaze if I want to go like SD Trailblaze for whatever reason. But it gets a lot of coverage. It gets some hard hitting moves, and it has a really high attack stat for Little Cup, 87. Mons like Rhydon that have like an 85 attack stat are pretty hard to come across. So really high attack stat, and then once you get that one boost, you really only need right that +1 in Little Cup, and you're outspeeding so much. So this thing also gets Dual Chop, which I don't remember if I know multi-hit moves are better. I don't remember if Dual Chop is better than something like Dragon Claw, but still Outrage is going to hit like an island. So this is a really good mon to have, and I'm really happy with it. And then we have, you're going to start seeing some of the water types bleed through here. We have Scraup. Now, I needed a ground and poison type, and all of them were gone. You know, stuff like Stunky and Krogunk and Bulbasaur, like all those mons that had already been picked up. So I kind of had to make do with what I had. But this thing is ground and poison type. It still gets adaptability, which is huge. And you can fire off those sludge bombs, those surfs, those gunk shots, those liquidates, because this thing is mixed attacker. So you can fire off a lot of hard hitting moves with. Also, this thing gets despicable coverage. I don't know why it gets play rough, but it gets play rough. You get stuff like T-Bolt, you get stuff like Shadow Ball, you get stuff like Dragon Pulse. So, and then this thing gets a lot of util like Haze or T-Spikes or like Chilling Water can even help sometimes too. So, really solid mon. It's the ground and poison type that I could get my hands on, but I'm by no means disappointed that's the only way I can get my hands on. Then we have Kabuto. Kabuto's here because I needed a spinner, and it was one of the ones that I had already, right, with that mono water team. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with this mon. It does get weak armor, so sometimes you can do some stuff with that. But a lot of times you're probably going to see battle armor Eviolite out of this thing, because it's just a nice bulky mon, right? 90 defense is really high for Little Cup. And then this thing gets really good coverage as well. Gets stuff like rock polish too, so you don't even have to run weak armor sometimes. And then, you know, just good hitting moves. Gets priority in Aqua Jet, and priority is big in Little Cups, so pretty happy with that. So, and then we have Zorua. You pretty much need a dark type when you're playing Little Cup, and because I was not there for the draft, all the stuff like Stunky and Pawniard and Pancham and all of that already went. So this is kind of the best one I can get my hands on. Illusion. I've used Hisui Zoroark before in draft, so I have some experience with using Illusion and stuff like that. But this thing is special attack or mixed. It is a mixed attacker. It does lean special, but you can run moves like Knock Off, Sucker Punch, Thief, stuff like that. This thing gets U-turn again, so more Volt turn. Really solid mon. Yeah, it does what it needs to do. Also, you kind of need a dark type for stored power, and if you're unfortunate enough as I am to have to play against Abra, yeah, you're gonna want it for that. Then we got Joltik. Joltik is just a mon that's like decently fast. I'm a big fan of picking up that high speed electric type, and unfortunately stuff like Elekid and Voltorb had already gone, but I was able to pick up this, which is decent speed, gets electric type, which gets compound ice, so you can run thunder. You can also, right, gets that volt turn, and then yeah, this thing doesn't do a whole lot. It's pretty much just semi-fast electric type, and it gets volt turn. And then last but not least, we have Turtwig. Shell Smash, which is really nice. Also gets shell armor, right, so no crits, which can be very helpful. Gets stuff like Curse, all the grass type moves like Leech Seed and stuff like that. And then yeah, no, just a solid mon. Decent bulk with Shell Smash, so it can be offensive when it needs to. It also gets SD. It does, right? Does it not get, oh no, it does get SD, yeah. If you want to run that without running Shell Smash, to not lower the defenses. So yeah, no, really solid mon. So I'm pretty happy with this draft. The week 1 video should go up pretty shortly after this, if not like right after. And I'll also post team builders separate. So I'm going to try and upload consistently on Sundays. Sometimes the videos might come out early, but I'm going to try and upload every Sunday. But yeah, first time playing Little Cup, this is the team we got. I'm pretty happy with it, and we're going to see how it goes. Join me on this adventure and see if I can learn the format that I've never played before. All right, thanks guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.